Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing okay in this crazy, ever-maddening world that which we're currently living in right now. I hope everyone's doing okay. For my poem this week, it's a piece that had nothing to do with a prompt. It was just written in the moment of sheer frustration. And it goes a little something like this. My body and I, it's an uneasy relationship. I've always been reminded of its limitations, as one does with cerebral palsy, had from birth. From photos of me growing up with casts, braces, and orthopedics, there wasn't much I could do. As the years have gone by, I made efforts to try and be strong. Through all the surgeries and physical therapy, I want to do everything that I possibly can. But for all the efforts, I'm constantly reminded of its limitations. I move slow, I stumble, I fall, yet I still get up and move. No matter the aches and pains that come, my body and I, we need to coexist. There's still plenty of life to live in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. Okay, so this piece is kind of an immediate reaction. That's something that happened to me last Thursday. It was last Thursday morning, to be exact. I was walking. I was walking to the bus stop. The snow from the blizzard that happened that the previous Sunday into Monday was still lingering, and I didn't realize that I was walking underneath a patch of ice until it was too late and I was on the ground. And this is like the fourth time in the last 6 weeks that I've fallen somewhere. And this is the second time of those four that I fell on a patch of ice. Only this time around, it hurt. I was on the ground. I could feel a twinge in my left knee. I was on the ground for 5-10 minutes because it hurt, and I was eventually able to get myself back on my feet and continued my walk to the bus stop, which thankfully was still the Q49 bus was still there when I managed to limp all the way to the bus stop from the spot where I fell. And it got to the point with the pain, like I had to go to get it checked out at urgent care. Nothing fractured or broken, thank God. But in the midst of the last week, it's just like kind of in the midst of this last week, it's been something that's caused no end of frustration with my body and with a greater and to an extent even myself as a whole, because it's just like me to make clumsy decisions when you got told before you left the house, Oswald, cross the street, there's no ice on the other side of the street. But knowing me, I am a ritualistic, stubborn person that I am. I had to go the same route that I had been going, and even with my boots on, that decision came back to bite me in the ass, and I ended up on the ground. I was too embarrassed to tell my family that this had happened. I thought, okay, I'm up. It hurts, but I'm gonna try to get through this day. Get through this day. But it was just the pain from the spot on my knee, plus the fact that I was not in the. I was mad at myself the entire time because my carelessness that has kind of become a staple of my adult years reared its head in this moment. And it's like, Oswald, you're surely lucky that this did not end up worse, because you never let yourself off the hook for it, and you never hear the end of it, because everyone would be worried about you. And it's just that sense of, after all the, like, honestly, the nightmare scenario was going in my head, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be injured. Oh, I'm gonna have to have another surgery after a quarter century of doing everything I could to avoid getting injured. But it happened, and thankfully it wasn't nearly as serious as I thought it would. I thought it would be in my head, or that it actually was. It's just a bruised and sore knee. But it's just, I've been I've been keeping quiet because I didn't want to spend all the last week or so beating myself up over all the mistakes that I've done and have been doing since the start of 2026. Like, I didn't want to keep berating myself for the fact that all I seem to do is stumble and fall at nearly every opportunity, metaphorically and literally. But I'm still on, even with this whole mishap, I'm still on my own 2 feet. There's still there's still a lot more that there's still lots to do these days. I just have to be a hell of a lot more careful about how I go about living my existence than I am. That's pretty much the lesson that came out of this incident. And this poem was just a measure of me just letting my frustration with my body and myself, letting it go. It's it's a habit that I've been accustomed to pretty much my entire life. But I'm doing my best to not be as harsh on myself as I am. Well, everyone, that's it for this week's video. Hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend, and that all of you take care of yourselves. The world is a rough place, and we need all of us in it to see out these hectic days that we're in. Until next week, Good night, everybody.